Good evening, everyone. My name is Stephanie Bonilla, and I am your second Vice President for Citywide Council. I will start off with our interpreters to make their announcements. Can our Bangla line interpreter please start your announcement?
All right. The following message will be for Bangla recipients. আপনারা যারা আজকে অনুষ্ঠানটি শুনছেন এবং বাংলায় শুনতে চান সেক্ষেত্রে আপনাদের ফোন থেকে ডায়াল করবেন 347-966-4114। আমি আবার বলছি 347-966-4114। এই নাম্বারে আপনি ফোন করবেন এবং ফ্রেন্ডস আইডি চাইলে দিবেন 140-658-628 এবং হ্যাশ চিহ্ন। আবারও কনফারেন্স আইডিটি বলে দিচ্ছি 140-658-628 এবং হ্যাশ চিহ্ন। আপনাদের কোনো প্রশ্ন থাকলে ফোন লাইনে প্রশ্নটি করতে পারেন এবং এই তথ্যটি চ্যাট বক্সে দিয়ে দেওয়া হচ্ছে। ধন্যবাদ। অ্যানাউন্সমেন্ট কমপ্লিট।
Thank you. Can our Mandarin line interpreter start your announcement?
Hi, the following is in Mandarin. 今天的会议有提供国语的翻译服务，请你拨打我们的热线347-966-4114，ID 号码是564-382-294，再重复一次，今天的会议有国语的翻译服务，请你拨打我们今天的热线347-966-4114，ID 号码是564-382-294。Mandarin announcements completed. Thank you.
Thank you. Can our Spanish line interpreter start your announcement? Spanish line?
Spanish, okay, I was on the dial. Sorry. Para las personas de habla español, hay interpretación en español. Pueden llamar al número de teléfono y poner el siguiente código. El número es 347-966-4114. Posterior a esto, le va a pedir un número de ID, la cual es el siguiente: 328-112-068, seguido de la tecla numeral. Vamos a poner esta información en mensaje de chat. Y por favor, pongan sus teléfonos en silencio. Gracias.
Thank you. All interpretation
Spanish
announcements have
line finish.
Thank you. All interpretation announcements have been complete. We may now begin. Thank you. Tonight, Miss Sarah from sorry, Miss Sarah from PIS, parents parents to improve school transportation, will be joining us to be answering any concerns or questions that you all may have. We would like to change things up a little bit tonight, and we saw the increase of numbers for the registrations, and we would like to know what are your concerns at this time. What are you've been dealing with throughout the school year? We have noticed that a lot of parents have been dealing with switching of the matrons, switching of the drivers in January, but also past that month as well. So we would like to know your concerns that you've been dealing with at this time. Does anyone would like to raise your hand and would like to start? Okay. I see in the chat, Miss Shavana. Would you like to unmute?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, so I wanted to join this meeting because we recently had an issue with our daughter's bus company where every morning it was getting earlier and earlier for pickup, and ultimately they texted me saying, we're gonna come between 6:22 and 6:25 to pick up a 4-year-old whose school doesn't start till 8 o'clock. And I would have to wake up my child at like 5:30, and it just was not fair. I had to get to the point where we have to drop her to school because she gets to sleep at least till 6:30, 6:45.
Is this issue still happening at this time?
Well, I had to stop the bus because they told me the latest the driver, when I called the bus company, the latest the driver could come was 6:30, which is still too early for a 4-year-old.
Yes. What borough, if you don't mind?
Staten Island.
So the
Sarah?
school and the home are both in Staten Island,
Correct.
and it's pre-K.
It's 3K, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that seems like they're breaking their own rule because I'm gonna pull up the chart of how long it's supposed to be. It's just, because sometimes when it's that long, they're doing that on purpose. They have allowed themselves 2 hours for K through 12 when they go out of borough, unless you have gone through all of the steps of getting the accommodation for limited time travel. And I'm not saying that's right. We've been yelling at them about this for 15 years. But I'm gonna pull that up so everybody can see it, so that are they, breaking their own rule, or is it within their rule that we have to continue to fight to get them to change? So I'll pause there.
Okay. We'll wait for you to put that up. Isn't it supposed to be 90 minutes, Sarah?
I think that's what our CPSC coordinator had said as well.
I'm gonna pull it up. I know that it increased from what it was 5 years ago
Okay.
for the younger kids, including early intervention. But give me a minute, because yeah, I should have it memorized by now, but it gets me so mad that but anyway, I'm gonna share the screen in a second. My brain won't hold on to it.
And she says that, and has the school made complaints as well? Because at
I
what time are
called
they
the
arriving to
school
school?
to get guidance, and the first thing they said was to follow up with the bus company.
Okay.
Which I called the bus company. The guy was really nice about it, but when he called the driver, at the end of the day, all she could do, he said, was the latest was 6:30. I guess they don't have enough kids to split the route.
Well, it's more
Okay.
like they don't have enough drivers, because the kid's
Um,
supposed to get what their IEP says, you know. And OPT hasn't been like we can share you the complaint process with OPT itself. Um,
Miss Sarah also put the emails in the chat. Um, even though you're not using the bus right now, can you please add that into the complaint, that that's the reason why you're not using the bus right now? And then we will send you back what else, what other information OPT will need from you, like your route, your school. I don't want you to disclose any of that in the meeting. We could do that in the email, and we could follow up to see like what you're saying about if it's the a route issue, if it's that they can't split the route, or if it's a time issue. Also, do you have accommodations in your IEP for limited time travel?
No. Before she was at a different school, and it was only like a 15-minute ride up the road. It's just after winter break, she got placed at a different school, which happens to be kind of on the other side of the island, which is how we ended up in this situation.
Okay. So, you will need a letter from your doctor
Mm-hmm.
asking for limited time travel. Correct, Sarah?
Yeah, there's a whole form now. We have a link. I'm having a little trouble with the share, but I just put a short link, tinyurl.com/pissed advice. And when you get there, it has the link to the same information in Spanish. Um, and I'm gonna put the one about the adding the accommodations. It's just that they keep changing certain places where they have this on the website, if they even have it on the DOE website. So it's a process, but we do find that a lot of it, it's the parents of the youngest kids who get caught because you don't know that it's gonna be so
Is it this summer?
chaotic, and oh, there you go, that's it. Yeah, right. So it should be 75 for pre-K in borough. Even though you just had it, even though Staten Island is, kind of big.
Okay,
Um,
right here.
yeah. So the way we read this, finding the age level, which they only have two categories, and that's the pre-K, so 4 years old and down, 3K, early intervention. If the school is in the same borough as your home, their maximum time is 75 minutes, and that was increased, as I say, in the beginning of the pandemic, or at least that's when they told us and tried to say it was like that all along. But we have older presentations,
So for
where it used
pre-K
to
is
be
actually
60.
less than.
It used to be 60, but they bumped it to 75. And then if you're going out of the borough, I mean, this is really long for these little babies.
Mhm.
But that is what, uh, you know, unfortunately, the people in charge have decided is normal and okay. And then when you get to kindergarten through 12, they, under these regulations, can um, be given a 90-minute ride in borough and 115, but since that's so close to 120, when we've seen Office of Pupil Transportation executives testify at City Council, they say 2 hours. They round it to 2 hours and they treat it like it's 2 hours. And, this is really unacceptable. Um, but they've gotten to the point of using the driver shortage as an excuse instead of, hustling to try to get more recruitment. So that's something that we're going to talk about when we talk about advocacy after people address these kind of questions here
Can
tonight.
I also ask you guys, like, when does the 75 minutes starts at the time of pickup, right? But does it mean 8 o'clock when school starts, or because the guy at the bus company told me, well, the bus driver's online at 7:45?
Oh, online to drop. Yeah, that's a good question. We have found that like sometimes they try not to count, and this is not the driver's, control as you've seen, but the routers and then how the company, scrambles to cover the route. um, we've seen that it's tricky to get a clear answer about, for instance, the part of the time that the bus is sitting waiting at a different school to release, and which is another problem when they combine more than one school on the route. Um, So I'm not sure exactly what to tell you, but I know that you want your child, in the classroom on time and not frazzled from rushing. And that's, that should be, it shouldn't be a favor. It shouldn't be a special treatment. It should be what's happening automatically to each and every bus rider. Um, and this is unfortunate that this is you know, what it looks like. Um, so that's why we're organized. That's why this committee exists. That's why Parents to Improve School Transportation exists, and other, um, groups who are working to try to get them to revamp how this is done. Even the city comptroller did an audit of the Office of Pupil Transportation and brought out a lot of this. But I'm just going to stop talking so that I can go get the accommodation resource. And for the person who wanted to, oh no, that was on Facebook. Never mind. So that's the one I'm gonna get, and maybe a couple other links that might help people here. I know there's other people waiting patiently with their hands up.
Yes, we have Miss Lorena Castillo has her hand up.
Yes, hi, good evening. So I'm having a similar situation. I have a 17-year-old. I live in Brooklyn, and he gets picked up at 6:30 and gets to school 8:30. I have done everything in my part in order for this bus route to change, and nothing has happened. I called OPT. I spoke to the coordinator, parent coordinator at school, and filed documentation with the doctor, so they can put in the IEP and add it to the IEP. She has not done that. It's been over a month. We have kept in contact, and she said that they received it, but that they haven't um implemented, and it's always like I don't know, like uh, mm, it just doesn't, nothing happens. So I don't know what else to do because I already have made several complaints. In September, it started fine. He was getting picked up at 7, and I was happy with that, and they had no problem. Then they changed it to this route, which comes at 6:30. Now it's coming at 6:38, and didn't change much. And he still gets there late. He also had, a sore from sitting because I guess he sits in the school a lot, then sits on the bus the whole time. Also, he's the first one to get picked up, the last one to get dropped off. So it's just unfair. He gets out of school. He gets on the bus at 2. He gets here sometimes at 4:15. The earliest he has gotten home is 3:30, and that's if there's like many kids that didn't get on the bus. So that's what I've been dealing with.
So When you add the accommodations, I couldn't tell from what you described if
Well, I did the
wait,
documentation because they
okay.
didn't get to add it yet to the IEP. I have no idea
Yeah.
why.
No, I can
Um,
tell you why, Mama.
okay.
So, well, I mean, other than, people dragging their feet or whatever the issue might be on the school level, this is considered more restrictive. So it's as if you are adding, more speech or adding a therapy that the child didn't have before. You actually have to have an IEP meeting, and it has to be like sort of not necessarily a reeval where they actually test your child and do assessments, but they
Mm,
have to treat it like a reconvene, or the psychologist must be present, not just the teachers. And sometimes, depending on the experience level of the staff at the school, they might not realize that. So if they try to do an IEP with the teacher or try to just add it as an amendment, it's not going to go. If you were dropping something, then it's like so easy. But whenever you are adding something that makes more, special attention and work have to be done on
yeah.
behalf of the student,
Mm,
they are treating that like something that has to really go through all the process. So that's why when we talk about this in the most recent link that I put there, and again, some of the forms in there might not be right yet. I'm trying to make a copy of something else um, that has some other sources, including video, for people who want to learn it that way.
mhm.
But
I'm glad you
you,
mentioned that. I'm sorry to interrupt
yeah,
you. That you said that it's easier
talk
to
to the
drop it
team.
because they dropped
Hmm.
my son's bus major. He had a 1-to-1 for the
Mm,
bus, and they had made me drop that during what depends in the pandemic or after like 2 years, like a year into 2 years after the pandemic, like after. And I
mhm,
remember that I didn't want to drop because he needed his 1-to-1. Um, I'm glad that now, I mean, he doesn't, but at the time, he really needed, but they didn't have staff. So the fact that they didn't have staff, and I was like, well, then he wasn't allowed to go on the bus. They dropped it like right away. Um, so that is so true. And I was like, why is it so hard to add something
mhm.
than to drop something? And that's
Yeah.
exactly what happened. And yeah, but I just feel like if that's the law and they know it's over 2 hours, why get themselves and why put this law and then violate this law continuously for so long?
Hmm.
I just don't understand.
Right.
I think it's so
So,
unfair.
mhm. So when people are doing the process to try to get the accommodations, there's the application, there's the paperwork from the doctor, there's a HIPAA release form that you have
Yeah,
to
I
get
did
the
those.
doctor to do. But at the same time that you're in touch with your doctor, you have to be in touch with the school-based support team or the school assessment team or school psychologists, and get them to start planning a meeting for you in which that accommodation can be added once you have the paperwork.
Okay,
A
okay, so I'm
lot of
gonna
the
have to do my
doctors,
homework.
they get, yeah. And so
I
if
just
you look in the
realized that.
chat, I just was finally able to
Mm,
copy and paste,
wow.
3 different sources for how to get accommodations
Okay.
on the bus. And, in general, for other people who are here, um, that also includes even having a mini wagon. So if you have a small child and they just happen to be on a short bus, don't leave it up to chance. By the time they're in first grade or maybe even kindergarten, there may appear at your house one day a full-size bus, standard with, a lot of sounds and vibrations and people and overwhelm for sensory. You cannot assume that that's going to continue by itself. They call that the mini wagon, and that's also an accommodation. So
¿Sí?
actually,
Ya tú pagaste 26.
we have these various links, and
No lo quitaron.
some have more than one language. And if that's not good enough, again, the emails that were posted first, we can repost those because many more people have joined, to try to get one-on-one assistance with, these processes. But I can't lie, the actual form is really hard
¿Dónde
to
está tu
find
placa?
right now. And so again, when you talk to your school, they might have one on file. You can talk to myself or Stephanie, and we might have a sample, even though it's like old and it doesn't say who the chancellor is right now or something. Yes, the mini wagon is the short bus that holds fewer students. There's a few models with slightly different numbers of students, but that is the term that they use as a medical transportation accommodation, Antonia and everybody. Yes. Okay. Um,
Another thing I notice is if the wording mini wagon is not added in the IEP, your child has the chance of being put into a big bus. Um, it depends on the route. It
Hello?
depends on the school.
Hello, are you there?
Yes.
Can I help you?
My name is
oh,
Jennifer. I am calling from iCare Health regarding your improved
oh
Medicare
no.
benefits. Can you
Somebody
confirm if
needs
you
to.
have Medicare Part A and
Okay.
B?
We do. Please take me off the list because you continue to call me, and I already
Let's
have told
one
them that we
second.
That
don't need
person
any
has
service. We already have our service.
Sorry. Sorry about that. We're gonna go back to the questions real quick. Back to the questions. And there was limited time travel. We answered that one. And about there's no bus paras. It's impossible to find them. Ms. President Angel had added that the council has been working with CUNY, with students and HR to try to fix some spaces. That they're also trying asking questions if contacts and agencies for paras outside of the school.
Mhm.
Do you have any insight on that on the agency paras? Because I've heard good and bad on those, not just with busing as well as with having them to fulfill our spaces in the school.
So I was actually going to ask how it went with the para recruitment last week, because in the survey for people who were registering for that, it gave them a choice to say, I'm interested in the classroom, I'm interested the bus, I'm interested both. So I was wondering if through this collaboration, the council has been able to convince DOE to hire anybody to just do bus para without them being, because they up until now they've always had to be on the payroll as a para or a substitute para can do it. But it's a side job. It's not its own job alone, as far as we know. I have a resource link that's it's kind of a lot of information, but towards the bottom, we do have some quotes from parents about agencies as they have experienced them. Um, we saw some of those contracts with those agencies. We saw in the beginning of this year, there was one that there seemed to be some technical glitches because either they were making everybody go to a particular agency or they were doing things like not putting the full transmittal. So somebody was supposed to get 1.0, meaning they get the full pay, and it got changed to a 20%. The agency paras actually get paid for the whole day because they go sometimes very far, from their home and your home for the specialized schools. A lot of it seems like a lot of the non-public students will get directed to the agency first because they're not, UFT, right? In the school, there's an agreement with the para and teachers union to start with that first and work your way up. The one thing I do know um, is that last summer, since the summer is kind of coming up, people are putting in for summarizing and those things. Um, they made less of a wait time between you or your principal saying that the para is needed for that child rather one-to-one, uh, and being able to take it to the agency. So during the school year, I think they have to wait either 5 or 10 business days. And in that time, you could still pester your principal to say, okay, if there's nobody in the building, is there anybody in the district? And if there's nobody in the district, is there anybody in the city? And one other resource we have, because PIST has a Facebook group, we found out from one of the members there that who's a para, that there's a para Facebook group where if we ask her, she would post something where you have to say your neighborhood, the school neighborhood, and more or less what time the bus is coming in the morning and the dismissal. And then somebody, there have been cases where somebody will say, oh, I could do that, because it's not going to make me late to my regular job. Again, these are the UFT paras. So, those are some resources that are mentioned in the most recent link that I put into the chat, which is in English and Spanish. I'm looking around for some PDF. We do have some information in Bangla. And I do have one link that leads to pretty much, it's like a table of contents of all the resources on the PIST NYC website. And you can do a search on there, like a control find, and you can see which things, because we definitely have Bangla for the first steps of making your bus complaint and so on. The only thing that might be missing is actually the email to this committee, because it was different before when I, originally created that flyer. So I'm going to mute in case there's something else that we're missing on the chat or hand.
No problem. Other people made comments that about agency paras, that they were not so great. I've heard that as well. That's why I said I've heard both situations. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it hasn't worked out. That's what we're trying to figure out, where are the gaps, that way we can make it work. Because we already have enough gaps without paras. And we need to get these kiddos back to school. 1 second. Okay. Does anybody have any other questions? Any other concerns? I'm just looking through the chat. Miss Sarah also added a lot of links in the chat for all of you guys.
I do have some, if we want to sort of zoom out and talk about some other developments citywide, statewide, and things that people can advocate for.
Okay,
In
yes, you could give us some updates.
uh-huh. Okay. All right. So yeah, I feel like the group hasn't met in a couple of months, and as I mentioned, the city comptroller did a whole study of OPT. We're trying to make a shorter video of the highlights of the press conference about that. But one of the things that they concluded was that the way it's organized is pretty chaotic with these 48 to 52, different companies. And there's things that stand in the way of rebidding those routes. But there are two other ways to address the overhaul that's needed of the service of yellow busing. One was to make it a city run service, so to make it a public service instead of privatized. And in that way, you would have everybody working for one entity. You would have the possibility of more things being the same across from one base to another. You would have possibility of, if we need only the air conditioned buses, because they're not all have functioning air conditioning at any given time, if you want to make sure those are the ones that do the summer runs, instead of, oh well, whichever company got the contract has to do the summer runs, and half of their buses have AC and half don't. Those are the kind of things that could be more centralized uh, if it became a city service. Um, and
And
if
that's also an accommodation that they could have added in the IEP, correct?
Air conditioning, yes, on a one by one basis, you have to show like, oh, my
The
child takes such
medical.
and such medication, and if they
Mhm.
get hot, the medication doesn't work, or they have asthma, and if they get hot, or if the doctor, if the matron opens the window and a bug bites my child, they're going to blow up with allergies, so they have
And
to
I
be in
believe
a
is
closed
seizures
bus.
as well, right?
Yeah, yes, very much so. Seizures are affected by heat, of course. Thank you.
No
On
problem.
point. Yeah. But it's not, again, automatic. There are laws, but the law to make all of the special ed routes have air conditioning is not supposed to take effect until 2035. So they claim that that's time to match with when they have to turn over to electric
Mm.
vehicles.
That's why I wanted to make some of them aware that are in this call, since we're talking about like limited accommodations. I mean, limited time travel. That this is another accommodation that could be added in the IEP because yes, it's something that we all think should happen, but it's not something that is actually being done. And the way that we could ensure it happens is by having it mandated.
Right. So it's again going to be that process with the doctor and with another meeting.
Because you said 2030 for the law, right?
Yeah, 2035.
That
Only
law.
nice bus is going to be electric by 2030. However, I will say, so right now, I'm just going
So
to,
that's 9 years for it to actually.
yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Um, all right. So, yeah, so that's advocacy that we need with all of, the city leadership and everything else, because it is possible to do work on those buses and make them have air conditioning without getting a whole new bus. And um, you you can see advertisements for companies which specialize in doing that um, inside of magazines for the student transportation industry. It happens so the algorithm makes things like that pop up on pissed social media. So I'm going in, I'm looking, and it's like, oh, they have somebody to make it electric. They have somebody to make it AC. Um, I noticed, Mr. Grandshams, I'm answering your question about contacting the company. That's a little strange, and we should talk about the school bus app. It says that they no longer are listing contact information for the bus company, and the phone number wasn't handy for that family. So we have sort of crowdsourced a list. And again, this link I just added is in English and Spanish. It's mostly phone numbers uh, with the names of the companies if you know the company. Um, Worst case scenario, they may have subcontracted out to another even smaller company, or they may have gotten bought out. I don't know exactly everything. We do know um, that at the beginning of the year, the company called GVC actually in the summer stopped doing K through 12, and those routes went to Pride and Total, which is owned by something called First Student, which is a whole other story. This is big international company. Um, okay. So for the wow. So that means that they took it down from DOE. So I'm not sure what's going on, and I'm going to take this up with some people. Hold on. Why did the bus company info disappear? Wow. Um, hmm. Yeah, that's suspicious. Well, unless maybe they're just, redoing something and it'll be popping up back again in a week. But in the meantime, we do have a bunch of them from like workers who work at the place where they have, you know, even the DOE website had the wrong number. So you can try this one to see if you can find it. The app, I will say, is also a contract via the school bus app. Um, and we've definitely heard about a lot of problems with it, a lot of money wasted when people couldn't even use it. Some of the money not all given to the company yet. the contract expires in August of this year. So for people who ever, consider going to like the panel for education policy, when they talk about contracts, it's early on in the meeting, and there's also ways to submit your concerns in person. Um, we're not thrilled with this app, the accuracy or the availability. Many people have problems with it. It's glitching. It's overseas. They're still hiring people to develop the algorithm and blah blah blah. So that's one of the big picture things. The bus company contracts did get extended again another 2 months, just a week ago, Wednesday, because the 3-year contract that got voted in the fall um, still has to be registered with the comptroller, and that's a new comptroller looking at a lot of contracts. So anyway, we all have busing, and I think if you remember, there was like this threat from the companies to just fire everybody. I think they're not gonna try to threaten us like that anytime soon, because we, kind of showed them that the parents and the workers were on the same page and weren't gonna have it, you know. Yeah, the map doesn't show up. I've seen that. Yeah. Okay, so there's a request for the most recent medical accommodation request form, and I have to tell you, I couldn't find it this year. It was not in the place where it was 2 years ago, where it was last year. But we do have, I think I have a PDF of one that's standard. So it doesn't say the current chancellor and logo, but it doesn't have an old one either. So hopefully that will work. So if people can just give me a minute to try to look for that, that's one of the PDFs I wanted to share. Okay. Oh, I'm
And
sorry.
hi, Sarah.
Going back. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay.
I think it's important also to mention when you have that accommodation, like limited time travel, parents forget when they go to their annual IEP meeting to bring that form already filled out and signed by your doctor. So there's no issue when you get to the summer, oh, we removed your limited time travel. It's like they don't tell parents that, but that needs to go in every single year, a brand new one. It could say the same thing, but it has to be stamped and signed by the doctor. And I always bring it to the IEP. And parents forget, but I could not find the form. So now that's why I was asking you. I can't find the form that I used to always find. I have a copy of the old one, like you said, but it's like they're purposely not letting us find it. Maybe that's the way I see it. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too cynical, but
They sometimes they're making it not accessible.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. And a couple of responses on the app. My app actually works really well. When it's not working, the driver didn't put it on. That's really it. And then I asked them about, oh, I'll tomorrow. So I would just ask the driver, say, hey, I'm trying to track you, so I'm here on time. Can you please, put it on? It's really them not wanting to be tracked, but they have to put it on. It has nothing to do with the bus company. Once you tell them nicely and they know that you're looking, because most parents don't even download it. And that's the issue. So you say it nicely, I want to be outside on time for you. Not, and then you'll be shocked. It'll be on that afternoon because they're supposed to put it on. By the way, I'm Fidaya. I'm one of the newest members of the council, and I found out about the council through this busing committee last year. So, and Sarah, like you have the most amazing Facebook page. I'm happy to meet you. I was wondering who was behind it, and that's you, which is great.
Susanna
joining us,
connected me
Elijah.
with you to
We
get
appreciate
the
it.
Medicaid stuff, and it helped me get my son's Medicaid.
Oh, you connected with me?
So I love you equally. There's mutual admiration.
Aw,
Okay.
you
Yeah.
sent us the bus contact card. You didn't send the medical.
I know, but
Yeah.
but you saying that reminded me. I'm still
Yeah.
looking.
Okay, no
But
problem. I'm having a meeting on Wednesday, by the way, on Medicaid. If you want to, I'll send you the
okay.
link. It's going to be a good one.
Put it in the
That's
chat for
nice.
everybody.
And
Why
we can
not?
share with everyone. I work as a,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, what do I do? What do I do? I'm a broker. I'm a parent first. I'm a broker, but I became an expert on Medicaid renewals because all the people I was working with were losing their Medicaid. And I became an expert on it by them losing it, my son as well. And now I'm presenting with all the agencies on how to fill out your application, what to add, all good stuff. So we can share it. Um, but that's Yadira, that's what she's looking for. That's what Sarah's looking for now. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's something you
Um,
want to do every year when you go to your annual meeting. You just say,
Mm-hmm.
here you go. And then everything I tell people I work with is no matter what you give in person, you keep your copy. And then you always follow up with an email because they're going to do everything they can not to put that in again. I can guarantee you
Mm-hmm.
that.
And it's also adding the bus power as well.
Yes.
A hard time too.
And bus para, maybe I'm wrong for saying this, I would only do it if you absolutely need it because how many times could your kid not go to school? They can't
Mm-hmm.
find the right person. So you know your kid. You know what I'm saying? If they need it, they need it. But sometimes parents are pushed into it because the school wants it and then they don't help them find someone. And the
Mm-hmm.
parents can't go to work, the kid can't go to school. So it's just a disaster, honestly.
Yeah, it makes it be on limbo, especially for working parents.
I'm going to send the Medicaid link right now on that meeting. I'll forward it. Yeah, basically, I'm going to run through step by step with a real application, which was my son's application, but I just removed his data, and I'm going to show you how to fill it out. Because I think as parents, we have to help each other.
Thank you for
Yeah,
that.
no worries. I know it's not busing, but I just wanted to share that.
No, we appreciate it. It
So you
has to
can
do
see
with
how many people.
medical, like
Yeah.
which means if we don't have our Medicaid, they
And
don't
that's
get
how
it.
Sarah knows me. I didn't even know you knew me, Sarah. That's good. It's all good. I'm going to post it. It's on April 1st at 10 o'clock.
Thank you.
Which is Wednesday. Oh goodness. Okay. Stop it. Not everyone has to renew annually, but those who do, are losing their Medicaid, which again, I think it's on purpose, but that's another story. So Sophia said she calls the driver. Driver does not put that on. That goes through your IEPT meeting, specifically your school psychologist, those people.
I think
I
she's
think she's
talking
talking
about
about the app.
the app. Yeah, what you were
I thought
saying
you meant
earlier.
yeah.
The driver, yeah,
Oh, then call
they get
OPT.
in
Those put
trouble
complaints in. They
for
would get in
not
big
doing
trouble. They would
it.
get in big
But
trouble.
we always try to get people to talk with your bus team the way you would want to be spoken to as a worker. On your job, you don't have to always go straight to the supervisor and the boss because they may be doing the best they can. And we've actually had a parent open her app and the bus driver opens his app and they're showing each other and he's like, oh my God, you only see that? Look, this is what I see. And we also, through the Facebook, we found out that the app is not even providing GPS for the drivers so that they, can actually have a turn by turn itinerary the way you would if you just did Google Maps or,
Oh,
the your GPS, the Carmen or whatever it's called.
yeah.
Those that's not what it's for. It's really for the company to track the driver.
They want them, they have to track them. It's not really helping them. It's just basically tracking them where they are at that moment.
Right.
I
And they
agree
do,
with that.
yeah.
I agree with that. The ish in my end they show one thing, in their end it showed another. And when I showed them, they were able to see why I kept calling to see where they was at because it showed me that they was in one location for like 20 minutes. So I felt the bus broke down.
Wow.
So since I've been hearing those things been happening, I just thought it was something like that. And we also been dealing with a lot of snow
Yes.
and all of this. So that was another reason I was looking more into the app to make sure that I was downstairs on time for them.
Exactly. Another thing, if you have self-direction, because it's very expensive and I don't expect anyone to afford it, but through my son's budget, every month it pays for my son's Angel Sense, which is a godsend. It's a little like GPS. I put it in his backpack, and that tells me everything, where he's going, how fast the bus is going, if they make extra stops. That's how I found out that they were doing stops before my son, even though he was the first drop off, because it alerts you and says, your child is in an area that they don't. So it's called Angel Sense. It's super expensive though. So only if you have either family support services will pay for it or self-direction, but they'll pay for the monthly fee. And then you could track everything,
And
which is
you
amazing.
explained to us was family support services.
They'll
But
pick it up. Yeah, they'll pick it up. Not everyone has,
is
young
that
children.
like Jewish board, something like preventive
Yeah,
services?
through those agencies. So some people have HCBS waiver and they
Okay.
can get self-direction, but now they're not giving little kids that under 8, so they only get family support to begin, but you could use that money. It's really an amazing device. Or what do you call those iPhone,
Are
Apple
you able to help with that in
Apple
one of
ones?
your workshops?
Huh?
Are you able to help with that in one of your workshops?
I'm not taking any new cases, but I have recommendations for brokers. I think everyone should, if they
Okay.
can, look into self-direction because that budget, my son, he gets everything, all his classes, his staff, everything. And
I also
not
know
everyone knows
some
about it,
families that have HSBC services.
Yeah, so HCBS is a waiver that you get after 8 years old now, and then you could have traditional services or you could apply for self-direction. My biggest regret, and I will do this one day, is to learn Spanish because I feel like I would be able to get the message across. But what I love about this is they can now translate what I'm saying. It's very important to look into self-direction, and every borough has a disabilities council. So if you're in the Bronx, they have one. Queens, I live in Staten Island, and I'm the executive vice chair of my disabilities council, but they have meetings every month. It's good to go to those meetings. And I pushed for interpretation, and now we're doing that because my
And
parents,
Sarah's part of the Bronx.
yeah, my parents came here. They didn't speak a lick of English. We're Albanian, and I had to translate for them. So you grow up quick when you do that as a first, first generation. But I think it's important to look at all the things you can, because we have to fight for our kids, and our kids are the most vulnerable. They need the most support,
Thank you.
Mhm.
Miss Sarah?
And the Samsung, that's good, Sophia. I like that.
Hold on.
And Sarah's going to look for that form and hopefully get it to us because I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I've been looking. It's not, I can't find
If
it.
we don't find it by the end of this meeting, we will
Send
look
it.
for it and we will email it to all of the participants that registered that are here tonight.
Yeah, I'm
Because we
finding.
could, Sarah, maybe we could ask
Mhm.
one of the
The
higher.
DOE has it. They have it.
So
Our people have
yeah, I did pull down the one
But
that
like
they
how
were
we said,
using.
like why don't we have access to the link?
Right.
It's
They
like
took
we could
they
all get the form from somebody, but
It
why
was
we don't
never
have
it was
access
never
to the
easy.
link?
Yeah, it's never easy to get that form. And for some reason this year I can't find it. And I need it for my IEP because like I said, annual, I have it redone.
Yeah, I think that would be a good question. We will raise those questions.
Mm-hmm.
If I may share my experience also with the form, I
Yes.
had to do the IEP this year,
Yeah.
and the school didn't provide for a form, and I tried to look it up on the DOE website. And however, when I printed it and I completed it, I have to took it to the doctor and completed the form. When I gave it to the school, it was the incorrect letterhead. Like there's some changes, so
Yeah.
then in there they gave me the correct one,
Did
but
they email
it's
did
not.
they email it to you or did they just give you like a print?
And they gave me a print. They didn't email it.
Oh, yeah. They don't want
Yeah,
us to see it.
I wish I could share it with you,
Right.
but they
Yeah,
gave me
I
a
have.
print.
Yeah, this is the one I've used, Sarah. I don't know if they're allowing us to use this anymore. This is the one I've used for years.
right.
It's like
Yeah.
I'm
This
gonna
one
yeah.
was for both the like a temporary medical child breaks their leg and they only need busing until they get out of the
Ah,
cast,
yeah,
and for the
Okay.
IEP. However, like you said, that's not it. And the last person who gave me one gave me the old. I recognize it. It's the old one. I have it in a few
yeah.
places. The problem is right now I'm not remembering who it was. I'm still searching around. But as Stephanie said, if everybody here who registered with an email can get an email back from the committee with some of these resources for you. And we will also update as soon as we know something else, we'll update it on the website. So I do, recommend people, this is I'm typing into the chat the website and the resource page, has a lot of these things. And you can also tell us what's not there that should be. And we also need help, to make some of it, to update it, and to make more languages, to make brief videos showing people how to do certain things visually. Um, but the other form that I did attach, I do want to bring this up for people. The bus emergency contact card. If your if your bus attendant is experienced and the company has been around, they know and they have a stack of these emergency contact forms to give you. But we don't know, and we don't see it happening as consistently at some of the non-union companies or places where there's many changes, frequent changes to who's working on your route. You want to make sure that, especially these days, for safety reasons and people trying to not have to be necessarily on the street because of ICE, Homeland Security, all of the chaos that is happening, the bus contact card is something to keep a blank for yourself. And, if you can print it, fill it out. If you can't print it, write it on, it's the same size as an envelope. So you could just write your own thing and hand it to the workers on the bus when you have a new route, because you want to be able to say to them, uh, it's in 9 languages so far. They may update it for the new languages that were added by DOE recently. But you want to be able to say what other adults can receive your child at drop off from the bus. You also have to say yes or no, um, if your child you feel is old enough, responsible, and safe enough to go into to come off of the bus by themselves with no adult, and maybe they just have to knock or they have the key, and they can do that for themselves. But you have to sign one way or the other to that. And what we found that was very scary to us as parents, the school's website only has one side of it. They do not have the side with the translations of those very important questions about whether or not my child can come down from this bus without an adult to receive them. So please, please have your own blank of both, really, the accommodation form to redo it from 1 year to the next, or from when you get a new doctor for your child, or you want a specialist and the primary pediatrician doing that for you to strengthen your argument with accommodations at the Office of Health and Mental Health, who would then approve it for OPT. But also have please a copy of this contact card and tell other parents about it, and make sure if you haven't gotten it from your team, be ready for the first day of summer school. All of those things. It's good to have your own blank handy. We'll try to do that in the website, but I don't have a way for PDFs on that website, and the photos are not as clear. So yeah, we're gonna have to fight them about the link to the accommodation form, and the link, or rather posting the PDF, both sides. It's been, a couple of years that we noticed this. I have talked about it in hearings about language access everywhere, and it just still is very disappointing. Okay.
I was also looking for it, but I couldn't find it.
Yeah, I know I have it. It's kind of hard to multitask. So I see that people are adding emails.
I'm saving them.
Right. So we can,
If everyone adds their email in the chat, we will email you all of the resources, all the links that Miss Sarah has shared tonight, all of the forms that have been requested as well, that we're searching for, the PDF forms, as well as looking for the links for the forms.
Okay. And
Does anyone has any other questions?
oh, there's my video. That's why I couldn't share. Hello. I wanted to mention that there's a youth group that has been campaigning for for student Omni to be expanded. And of course, we endorsed the campaign. Many parent councils have. I know the Citywide Council on Special Education was one that brought out how it's discriminatory to provide these opportunities to students who do not ride the yellow bus, and then deny it to the ones who ride the yellow bus. We've, been offended that past administration have announced it's Omni for all. Every student can go to all these places, but they are still limiting the students who ride the bus, and even the students who walk to school, to fewer rides. So this group took their position to the panel for education policy, and there was a resolution that passed the other night. I want to try to show you guys. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm not, my technology is not with me tonight. But, because this group of youth who mostly take the subway, and, they want to be able to go to jobs, and they want to be able to drop off their siblings, and they want to go to museums and the whole city, and they deserve it. Well, they've also been compassionate about their peers with disabilities who, need the yellow bus for now, haven't had travel training yet, maybe will always have to use Accessoride, but there should be something comparable. Um, um, there is some wording in the resolution. Some might not be 100% clear, but it says all scholars should have access to the student Omni cards regardless of where they live in relation to their school or obtain eligibility for the yellow school bus, keeping in mind that if a student takes part in after school, they cannot take the school bus back home. So I'm sure everybody here, has stories about wanting your child to have some other ways to return so that they could go to an event at school, or you could go with them and bring them back. And why are we penalized for those costs of transportation and not the students who don't take the yellow bus? So, anyway, this is a move in a good direction. The students had a rally. They testified at City Council Education Committee budget hearing. Um, and they are trying to have it really be unlimited and really be for everybody. But again, this is a resolution, it's not a law. Um, but we feel like it's a good time to keep pushing for this form of public transportation, since one of the main campaign issues of the current mayor had to do with, free and fast buses.
Are we able to share the resolution with them that way they could support?
The link, what I will share is the petition, because that way people
Okay.
can sign the petition and
In support of the resolution, correct?
in support of the whole campaign to
Okay.
expand this Omni card to make it so that, as already happens in some other cities around this country, students can go wherever they need to go with the understanding that they don't have, full-time jobs, so they cannot pay $3 every time they want to do something else. And when
And
you
if you can
add,
as well, please share the support of the petition. The
right,
petition in support of the resolution um with your families as well, because our families also know our struggles with all of these busing issues. Some of us can't go to work, and our families have to help out in order for us to get to work when these things happen with our busing. So it will be great if they also sign the petition in order to support this change.
yes, and we know it's a special hardship on people who have many children in their household, kids with siblings. If you want to go somewhere, you're paying for all of them, especially on the weekend. So the student Omni allows some students to do things on the weekend, summer, vacation time. With the pass, so far it's 4 times a day for free, but our students are excluded because it's treated like a duplicate service. And it really is not. It's really not a duplicate service, because going to school and back is only 2 rides a day. And then there is no busing, as they said, at 6 o'clock after school, Saturday, Sunday, etc. So
At what age does travel training start?
I feel like it's 14. Anybody here have experience with that? We have a resource about that again, also on the PIST website. And I was gonna try to, 14, yep, 14. Sophia, thank you, and Yadira. See?
Because I feel
Um,
like that could be also another of the advocacy is about the travel training and the need of the OPNI cars for the travel training in order for them to get those daily living skills to ensure that they could um, be within the community to be able to do those resources after school and in the weekends, just like everyone else.
That's right.
Miss Karina said yes, that travel training starts at 14. Thank you, Miss Karina. Mr. Diego, Miss Sophia, yes, thank you.
Welcome. I can say
I,
something about that too if you want.
Yes, if you can, yes.
Last year, last summer, I participated in this it was like a travel training but with the parents. Um and it was virtual. It was like learning the tools so we could work with our students, with our kids. um and they were, I found interesting that they were, something that they were offering was an omni card. At the end of the program, you could get an omni card for your student and one for you, for the parent. But in order to get that omni card, it you have to open your IEP to remove the the bus, the to remove the busing service. Um, I didn't made it. Um, I took the training, and I try as much as with my daughter, but my daughter just turned 14, and she needs more training, right? So
mhm.
I really not agree to remove the busing from her IEP. So I didn't collect those Omni cards. Hopefully in the future we could do something like that, but we're not ready for it.
Thank you for sharing.
I agree. It's dangerous,
Mm-hmm.
and there's supposed to be some guarantees um, to let you try it. Let them get experience. Um, what you can do, and I don't think you have to have self direction for this, but some of the agencies outside of Department of Education also offer their own travel training. So, YAI is one, Young Adult Institute. Um, and one of our members, the student took the training from that agency. He's one of the kids who really likes transit. He really wanted to do the train by himself. Um, Mom just didn't want to take it off the IEP and be stuck with nothing, um, you know. And so he was able to do a few mornings by himself and the afternoons on the bus. I forget exactly, but he was able, you could say, to mix and match traveling by himself and traveling on the bus. And then it was a good thing if they left it on his IEP because he ended up transferring schools, and now it's a whole new route that he has to learn to take himself, and it's more complicated. And so, he's back on the bus. He's full time, not happy about it because he wanted that independence, but you don't want to be stuck again, either paying for it or when circumstances occur where the child is maybe regressing, having more anxiety, running into problems. Um, okay. So yeah, everybody has different experiences with what your child's tolerance. I mean, I took the train by myself a lot, but also it probably would have been better to have some company. Um, all right. I wanted to ask if anybody attended the presentation last Tuesday from Beyond Access. They were supposed to talk about transportation in the summer. I didn't get to go, so I'm just wondering if anybody learned anything or um, if there's a link to the recording yet beyond access. And meanwhile, I'm going to put our travel training resource link in the chat in case there's something useful there.
Maybe we could share that information with them as well in the emails.
Oh, yeah, if we get hold of that, yeah.
Just
Okay.
because I don't believe some of them have access to the Beyond Access series.
Yeah, it's a little hard to find things. It's a YouTube channel. And they do record everything, but the order that how long it takes to show up, I don't know. And yeah, I think that when you go to the YouTube, it shows you the most popular ones instead of the most recent one or something like that. Okay, so the last thing I want to say about student transportation. Travel training is part of it. They're hiring. They're hiring people to be paraprofessionals and teachers for the travel training program. Those are jobs, some youth, some people in the community might be well suited for. They're also always hiring school bus drivers and monitors. Unfortunately, it's up to each company individually to do that recruitment. And we don't have that central control that I was referring to when we talked about how the comptroller said maybe it could stop being private. Or actually, there was another one I did not get to mention to solve this busing crisis, that maybe they could expand the nonprofit model that they already have. If anybody's child is on the NYSCBUS, that NYCS, anyway, Nice Bus, the umbrella services, that's a nonprofit, and they're trying to innovate and do things in such a way, and they, in the long term, we think it would cost less for the city because they're not taking off profit from the top. They're just putting it into the service and, the vehicles and ideas and routing and things that we hope they would maybe get a shot at doing even more, so that it would help us with this chaos of too many companies and not all of them being equal. So we want people to be constantly aware. If your school is doing career day, if your council person, assembly person is doing a job fair, someplace that is doing, someplace that it would be appropriate to contact a couple of the companies that we know are at least responsive and have them come down, or have some people from the workforce come down if it's during a time of day that they're not driving, to kind of encourage our students. And also, of course, bus paras. We've already talked about the ridiculous shortage that if if your child needs the bus para and doesn't have it, they're definitely going to miss school. And it's a huge problem. So hiring, recruiting, and keeping the people by giving them, these reasonable wages and pension and what they call employee protection provision. That's the state legislation that we've been pushing to try to get secured. However, if the overhaul, if the reorganization happens where the buses go from being all these different private companies to either being one nonprofit or to being run by the city, similar to, I don't know, sanitation, something else that has vehicles that they organize or that the Department of Education runs. Um, Probably the bus, the trucks that bring the school lunch food, that's run by the DOE, I think. I don't know, maybe they contract out as well. Anyway, those are just to help people envision something better and remember all the time that something better is possible. And, we have to demand it. We really do. So I promised you guys. Oh, and one other thing I'm going to put in the chat. Because you're District 75 parents, we know that your students and the schools have the teachers union, okay, and they also have a compliance form. I just put it in the chat. If there is a pattern of your student, because of bad bus routes or not showing up or having too many schools, and therefore they are getting to school late enough to miss services, educational or related services. Even if they're 20-15 minutes late, but it happens every day, you can actually pursue advocates at the teachers union. They have them in every borough, and the form is written for their members who are teachers to fill out, but it is encouraged for parents to ignore that part and just fill it out about your child. And it's confidential, but we've met some of these union, staff who do definitely stay on OPT's case until those routes are repaired for that student's need. So that's one thing. The other one I was going to put was the travel training, because we have some of the brochures. And there's a video. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. I'm going to copy this whole thing, put it in the chat.
Karina also had added that the Beyond Access webinars could take up to 1 to 2 weeks to be available.
Okay. All right. So that's going to be later on. And then we'll be into the holiday. So, all right. Well, I'm putting in the link, the one that they did about travel training 3 years ago. But it's got some good stuff. And at the bottom of that chat item, it's a link to everything that we have so far on the PIST website about travel training. I know that I have to update it and put some of the other languages that I picked up at Resource Fair earlier this school year. But, it does have some English and Spanish. So I'm
Yes,
going down my list. We talked about VIA. Were you going to say something, Stephanie? I'm sorry.
no, I was just gonna add if there's any closing remarks. So I guess you had them.
Yeah, I just remember I have my list. Okay, I left off two things that I jotted down. One thing, and this is important in the just for awareness in this fight to hold on to the experience and train yellow bus drivers that we do have. We have a problem with the federal forcing the state Department of Motor Vehicles to deny licenses and renewal of commercial driver license to people based on their place of birth and their status, um, their immigration status. So that could be a factor in some of the shuffling when you had a driver and then you don't have them. I don't know for sure. There's different reasons why a driver temporarily or permanently is not on your child's route any longer. But this is an issue that we just will need to be aware. It's not something that's happening far away. It's going to affect day to day how long the routes are. It's going to affect, whether you have somebody who's experienced or somebody brand new because they were desperate because their experienced person was denied having the license renewed because of this, discrimination against people who were born someplace other than here. So it's something else to be angry about, and that's why our name is pissed. Um, Another point, the we talked about, okay, the small van, Nagaro, the contracts. So the call center, if anybody has called the OPT number, most of us know it by heart. It's run by a company in California now, and they don't really have a lot of power to do anything for you. They're not telling you the child's route details on the ground that that's confidential. But also, they don't have language translators available the way they should at that place and the way I think the contract said they were going to. And that's been also very disappointing. So, for those who want to make comments to the panel for
That
education
is
policy,
a
that
type
contract comes up in June, or rather, it finishes in June. So people have had bad experiences or good experiences with the phone center. I don't call it a help desk because they don't really help too much. They might be very nice, but OPT is the one making the routes, and it takes you getting the complaint number is only step one, then writing an email, copying advocates, getting, your school to do complaints, getting other parents on the same route to do complaints. It takes so much for any attention to get placed on these route problems. Just by you making the one phone call, unfortunately, is not going to produce a solution. So, if people who what I'll do is I'll give you in the chat the link to subscribe to the PIST mailing list, and we're always going to be telling people 1 month at a time. Here are things that are happening. Here's the D75 meetings. Here's the PEP meetings. Here's any kind of hearing, any education rallies, any development with Omni. Um, Please, keep informed that way. Even in the summer, we'll be doing this. And sometimes we need it worse in the summer because that's some chaos too, right? So that is in the chat. A link to just give me your email and any major topic that you need some help with, if anything.
Thank you, Miss Sarah.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
No problem.
Mhm.
Well,
So
again,
there's a
I would
meeting
just
in April?
yes, we will be meeting in April. Give me 1 second. I believe it's going to be April 27th, but I'll confirm because April 20th we have our CCD's 75 town hall.
Oh. Oh, it's April with the chancellor?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I saw that and thought it was March. I thought I missed it. Do you want to go
Mhm.
ahead and announce that for everybody? And I'm gonna pay attention.
Yes. On Wednesday we have our citywide council meeting.
Mm,
Where President Angel will make those announcements about the town hall.
okay.
The location would be, give me 1 second, because I believe it's posted on the Instagram already.
I think I saw one
It's
that was
gonna be
like,
in Manhattan.
yeah, East 100 something.
It's gonna be in 55 East 120th Street, Manhattan, New York, April 20th at 6 p.m. And they will be taking questions as well from the audience. So if you're near, you could be able to come on by. They have been having the town halls for all of the CECs and citywide with the chancellor. Some of them was done with the previous chancellor, with Miss Melissa Aviles
Mm,
Ramos. And some are being done with our new chancellor, Kamal Samuels. Correct? Right? Did I say his name right?
sounded right to me, Kamar.
Samuels. Kamar Samuels. And he will be there at PSM 079 Horan School.
Hmm.
Well, thank you all for joining us tonight. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your advocacy and your resilience in trying to ensure that all of the children get the things that they need to ensure that they get to school as well to get the resources that they need. So thank you again for joining us tonight. Happy Women's History Month. Thank you again, Mr. Grand Champs. We appreciate you. And thank you to our interpreters as well. We will be releasing our interpreters at 7:54 p.m. Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye. See you next
Bye.
time.
Good night,
Good
everyone.
night.
Bye bye.
Mhm.
Happy Monday.